And we welcome in yet another Steve, and that is Stephen Moore of the Wall Street Journal. Hello, sir.
Hey, Steve. Great to be with you.
Great to have you on. Appreciate it. Long time no speak. I woke up Sunday morning, which might speak to how late I was sleeping. I don't know. And I saw you do maybe it was yesterday, and it was probably yesterday. And I saw you do a hit on Fox about a great story, which I think the public needs to be aware of, and I just hope that it's allowed to happen. A new study indicating that this country and North America will be energy independent and be able to become exporters of oil and natural gas instead of importers.
Yeah, it really is an amazing pro-America story, and it's happening all over the country. There's an energy revolution going on in this country, and it's in oil and gas. And by the way, this comes just a few years after President Obama said we were running out of this stuff, but we are not running out of oil and gas. We've got huge new finds all over the country. North Dakota has almost as much oil as Saudi Arabia has. Texas has doubled its oil production, Steve. And, of course, you got the Marcellus Shale and the states like Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and Ohio that is producing so much natural gas. We have 100 years worth of that. We have 600 years worth of coal. We could be an energy exporting country, and wouldn't that be amazing for our balance of trade situation, for jobs? By the way, the average paying job in the oil and gas industry in Texas pays $100,000 a year.
And in Texas, that goes a long, long way.
Yeah, that's for sure. And, Texas is now producing as much oil as the other next four largest oil-producing states combined. So it's a huge contributor, and every time they drill there, they're finding more. And the new technologies allow them to, go into the old wells and get at oil and gas that they weren't, able to with old technology.
Now, what does this mean for the geopolitics and the markets and more importantly, well, first answer that, and then I'm going to ask you if you mentioned Barack Obama. I'm going to ask you if we're going to be allowed under his administration and EPA to actually make this happen. But let's assume it is happening. It will happen. It continues to happen. And what does this mean? I mean, what kind of land, what kind of shift in the landscape does this bring about?
Well, the irony of Barack Obama's presidency is that he's the greenest president we've ever had, who hates fossil fuels, and he will, in 8 years in office, have resided over the greatest oil and gas boom in American history. So there's a lot of irony to that. And, of course, it's not happening because of Barack Obama. It's happening in spite of Barack Obama and his Interior Department and his EPA, which are trying to, foil this revolution. And the amazing thing is that, people are getting so rich off of it. It's very good for the country. It's good for our manufacturing sector. It's good for our transportation sector. It's good for our high technology sector. We have virtually the lowest power in the world right now. That's a big competitive advantage.
Yeah, no, absolutely. What about Keystone? I mean, how does Keystone play into this? And isn't it true that we're going to need many, many more Keystones to transport this oil, from one part of the country to another? And I think you were talking about if we're exporting from the East Coast, we're going to need to bring it over to be exported off the East Coast from the West Coast.
Yeah, that's true. And, the truth is, the one kind of infrastructure we need in this country so badly is pipelines. It's better than, we do transport a lot of it on, by truck and by rail, but it's much more efficient to transport this stuff by pipeline. And, yeah, as you pointed out, the environmentalists are against this. They don't want the pipeline built, which is craziness. It's much safer to transport this stuff by pipeline than on a truck or a boat or a rail.
All right. So given the fact, the irony of Obama with the greenest president ever and presiding over this boom, nonetheless, you did mention the restrictive policies of the EPA and his administration. So I mean, how much will that hinder us being where we have the potential to be in the time we could get there? In other words, will this prolong it immensely? And if we have another, God forbid, Hillary administration with the same kind of EPA, could this thwart all this progress?
Great question, and no one knows the answer. They haven't been able to thwart it so far. I mean, they've tried to, right? By not building pipelines, by not allowing leases on public lands, by the EPA, imposing new clean air and clean water regulations that make it harder to do the drilling that we need to be doing. But even with all of those impediments, the industry is still going great guns. And so I'm not so sure the government can hold this back, although it certainly is trying to do so. And it makes no sense, by the way. These are good jobs. They reduce America's balance of trade deficit. They make our industries more competitive, and they provide cheap fuel for Americans when they drive their car or when they heat their home. I mean, what's not to like about this story?
Well, I know that's common sense, but we're dealing with the the radical left. You never know. One more is for Steve Moore of the Wall Street Journal. Consumer confidence at a 5-year high, or just about, and home sales up 11%. Home values up 11% year to year from March to March, and the market, of course, took off to over 200 points. I think it closed up at just about 100 or so. So good news for the economy, right?
Yeah, the economy's picking up, no doubt about it. And one of the reasons it is picking up is I think people are just businessmen and businessmen and businesswomen and consumers and industries. They're just not as afraid of Barack Obama as they used to be. I mean, remember the first term was all Obamacare and stimulus and debt and union card check issues and global, the cap and trade for, the tax that would have been on industry. And right now he's so on the defensive, he can't really do that much to harm the economy. And I think that's one reason it's really starting to show some firepower here. And it's great. I mean, American companies are lean, mean fighting machines right now. I think this bull market's going to continue.
Right. Now we just got to get more people back to work in jobs that they could live on. All right, Stephen, always a pleasure, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'll speak to you real soon.
Yep.
All right. Take care. Stephen Moore, ladies and gentlemen.